I'm Lauren with Pack Hacker, and in this video we're taking a detailed look at the Peak Design Outdoor Sling 2-liter, which I've been testing for the last 2 weeks. Let's dive in. This sling is a part of their outdoor line, which has a lot of different bags, kind of with the same material and the same aesthetic. So I'm gonna pull this up a little bit closer to the camera so you can get a close-up look at it. But it's a very, very lightweight material, and it has like a weatherproofing on it to help like repel water, and then there's a PU coating on the inside as well. But there are a couple different cool features about this bag, but just from like a simple aesthetic standpoint, I think that this is like the most just like casual sling looking bag that they have in this line. It is more of like a standalone. It doesn't have quite as many features as the other ones, but it is just like a nice small 2-liter bag if you are looking for something that's compatible with their other gear, but has that same sort of aesthetic. But we've just got a little Peak Design logo down in the corner there, and then the zipper pulls here, pull that up there. That's like a kind of like a ropey paracordy material, and then some like heat shrink down on the like end there, and that just gives you a little bit of extra grip so that you can open and close that zipper. So the outside of this, like I mentioned, is just very simple. It does have sort of like a lumpier look to it. I found that it was a little bit hard to get this completely full without feeling like my gear was kind of flopping all over the place, which we'll get into once we look at the organization. But you can see it kind of caving in on this side here, but it does have these 2 little gussets on either side so that as you start to load the bag out, it kind of starts creating like this little more rounded shape to it, but it does still stay pretty flush to your body, which gives it like a more like casual aesthetic. The harness system is, I would say, one of the more complicated things about this bag. You have a couple different options. So starting off with like the basics, we have just like a regular shoulder strap like normal, but we do have some padding here. You have a decent amount. I would say that's like maybe like a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of padding, and then you can kind of see, the light poking through here. That's from the table. This is actually like a full mesh padding. So this adds a little extra comfort and aeration. I didn't really find myself needing it. This thing is only 2 liters. It doesn't get that heavy, but it is nice to, like, a lot of times you don't see a bag with actual like padding on it. So that was nice. It is stitched in place. And you know, you can take it on, take this on and off with the buckle. But the stitching in place, you can still adjust where it falls on your body using this other strap system down here. So we have this like cam lock attach or adjustment here, which allows you to kind of slide. You can slide that material, that like strap adjustment there. You can make it longer, shorter. Like let's say, you know, you have it on your front and you need the strap to be like the padding to be, you know, more on your front, but when you flip it to your back, sometimes the padding will be not centered. You can then go, you know, over to the other side and pull this through and kind of shift where it's actually placed. So it's kind of like a middle ground of being able to actually adjust the padding location without needing a padding that just automatically moves on the strap itself. So kind of a cool solution there, but it does just adjust like a normal sling as well. So you have some options. I do just find that there's a lot of extra strap kind of flapping all over the place, but it does kind of give it like a outdoorsy vibe. So I don't hate it per se. We also have these straps that are removable. So you can attach this bag using some loops on the back, which I'll show you in a second, to other bags within the line or other, you know, bags that you have elsewhere as well. But I do find this just too hard to actually take off. So they say to just kind of like slip one out and then fully pull it off. I have to really work at this. Like, I actually genuinely don't think I can do this quick enough on camera for you, just because it is so difficult, and all of the other bags in the line with the same feature we also had the same problem with. This is a pre-production sample, so it might get easier when they actually like release the bag, but I just found this too difficult. I don't think that I would really use that function too much because of it.
So I'm about to go out for a walk, and I remember that there is a spot to hide all that extra strap. It's just very hidden. It's on the back panel. There's a little hole right by this clip itself, and this is where you feed all of that extra strap so it doesn't dangle around. So that does help with more of a sleek look.
So this is the bag when it's on. You can wear it across your chest, or you can wear it around your waist as well, but this was primarily how I wore it and just found it to be very comfortable. This is what I was talking about with the strap adjustment. So you can see here the buckles resting on my shoulder, and if I wanted to, I could tighten this up a little bit and just get that that padding kind of moved around. But let's say I still wanted a little bit of a looser fit. I could keep that loose fit, and then instead I use this strap adjustment down here, pull this a little bit more taut, and then I can loosen it up on the other side, and that gives it that loose fit again, but now the strap, this padding is more forward on me versus further back. So it's a little bit finicky to have to adjust that all the time, but you can just set it and forget it if you find yourself using the sling one way more than another. But it does fit very nicely, just kind of along the back. So, you know, you can kind of adjust the fit how you like it, but now you can see the padding doesn't fit. So I'd have to adjust it again if I want to keep it back here. If you're finding this video helpful, hit subscribe so we can keep making content to help you travel smarter. In terms of external storage, we only have one option. It's this back panel pocket here. To start off, we do have a little carry handle above it. It's just like a stiff, I don't know, it's just kind of like a nylon material just wrapped around. It does stay, it's structured so it stays up all the time, so you can like quickly grab this. However, I didn't really find myself, I don't really carry a sling this way, but it does work well if you want to use the kind of like loop system to carry this as a pouch. So let's say you remove these straps, then if you open this up, you can see that there's one loop here. It's kind of hard to get to because of like where this is, or like it's like basically the loop is where like the stitching ends. So it's a little bit difficult to get to, but you could do the 1, 2, and then there's 3, and then the 4th one on the other side. So these are these where you can attach gear loops to these. These aren't included with the bag, but if you wanted to just kind of like feed it through, they're kind of hard to pull up, but I can see them stretching out a little bit over time. Just like little button loops, you feed the gear loops through, and then you can attach it to like the sternum of the outdoor backpacks, or you can attach it to another bag as well. Kind of up to you if you want to use that feature, but otherwise it's like you can't really even see that. It's the same material as this handle, so just kind of stiff webbing. And then the actual pocket itself, this is their like phone drop pocket. And this is, you can see obviously I have an iPhone 14 here. They recommend like kind of putting it in at an angle and like wedging it down in there, which I agree with. My phone like can't really, I mean, you can see it can't come out on its own, so you do have to wedge it every time. I find myself wedging them into there. It's kind of just, you just remember to do it and it's fine. And it does have a magnetic closure, but kind of as an example here, this bag is filled up it's pretty roomy, or it's pretty full in there. And you can see that this magnetic closure will, let's see, this is a good example. It just kind of like snaps into place up there, right? So it snaps into place, kind of keeps that pocket empty, or closed rather, when the pocket's empty. But I found that when I had my phone in here, that magnetic closure wouldn't really work. Like if I dropped my phone in there and just left it, like if it was taut enough that it would pull together, but I found that the magnet itself wasn't like super, super strong. I personally don't see an issue with this because I don't really feel like my phone is going to fall out of it. But if you have concerns about the gear that you put in here, then that's something to keep in mind, that it's not like an actual full closure. But this is where this kind of back padding comes in handy. This is a very similar mesh to, or if not, I mean, I guess it's kind of the same mesh as like what's on this shoulder pad right there. And this means that, you know, whatever's in this pocket and whatever's in the main compartment isn't going to be butting up against your chest and be uncomfortable or anything. So it is nice to have like a quick little drop pocket there, especially because the pockets and the organization on the inside can get a little bit chaotic, I guess is a way to put it. So we'll look at that now, but I like having the option to just slip a phone in and out of this pocket and not have to think about even opening the main compartment for it. All right, so going into this main compartment, we just have a single zipper that goes on either side. It does do kind of, you know, it's the zipper starts and ends over here. I did find that when it was on my body, sometimes I had to kind of support it down here in order to get the zipper track going, just because it's like, it's a little rounded and lower down, meaning that you can't just like pull it really quickly and easily. Sometimes like the whole bag would pull. Very small nitpicky thing, but if that's something that would bug you, you know, something to keep in mind. With this though, it does give you a really good opening and a look at this main compartment. The disadvantage is that if I lift this up by this back carry handle, I mean, my stuff is hanging on by an absolute thread in here. And that was the main thing that I found with this bag. If I had it on, like if I pull this material taut, right, and that this is completely open, you can see that it's not falling forward quite as much. So it definitely is something where if this bag is like laying down and it's open and you pull it really quickly, like I've had my stuff straight up fall out of this. If it's on your body and you open it fully, I just wouldn't necessarily maybe like bend over with it open. So just make sure you're closing it every time, obviously. But it does start to like pull forward so much. And a lot of that is because the organization is really specific. So in this, you can see that I've got I've got a notebook, I've got my wallet, I've got a speaker, I've got a clip, I've got my headphones, and that was all just in this spot here. You can see that there's so much room in there, but I just kind of had to pile everything in there. Like because there was no built-in organization or anything, it would just be like everything kind of became the dump pocket. And I could have put like my keys in this, and then I would have had more space, like maybe my wallet goes back there or something like that, but I kind of like keeping my keys in a back separate pocket. So, there are some different ways to organize this sling. I just found that when I was carrying more items, I was more afraid of them all falling out because of the weight of everything. With this kind of all off to the side, this one doesn't fit their like camera cubes or anything like that, like the other sling in this line does and the backpacks do, but this one doesn't fit anything. You could do like a small like point and shoot or something in here if you wanted to, but I would say this is more of like designed to be just like an everyday carry sling or like an additional pouch on that backpack or something. With the organization, I'm going to stick the keys back there. You have obviously one big mesh pocket in the back, and then we have two mesh pockets on the front. I guess I can show you here if I put this stuff back in. You can see like these mesh pockets for me were just a little bit hard to get to because they're so like skinny and thin, and it worked really well for something like gum. Like this is a pack of gum. I can pull it out, put it back in pretty easily. When I pull it out, this stuff kind of falls into it and then makes it harder to put back in. Like I kind of have to wedge it back in. But things that are like taller and thin go really nicely in here. But on this other side, I have my chapstick and I have a lotion. And this chapstick I like couldn't find half the time because it would a lot of the times it would like fall down and they would kind of layer on top of each other, and then I would be like kind of fishing around in here a lot. So I didn't really find these two pockets to be like overly useful. They can feel like tight and saggy at the same time, which is a really weird experience when you're like, where is my stuff in here? And also if somehow I can't get my hand in there, and like which pocket am I even going into? Very strange. Kind of user error, but just a little bit to get used to, I would say, in terms of organization. But this back pocket here, you could put your phone in here if you want to, but the back pocket I think is going to be your best bet. But what I really liked about this key leash, it's just like a basic plastic clip, so really easy to get your keys on and off of it, no problem. But this key strap itself is elastic, so it's really stretchy. So we sometimes see key leashes that are really, really long so that you can unlock your door with the keys attached, or really, really short, but then you can't. You have to take your keys off every time. This was like a really great middle ground because it didn't feel like it was so long that my keys were in the way of everything in here, but I was still able to stretch and unlock my door, no problem, with my keys attached. So there you have it, the Peak Design Outdoor Sling 2 liter. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel, and we'll see you in the next one.